The grand dining hall of the millionaire Robert Kingsley was filled with the sound of laughter and music. Waiters moved quickly, serving the wealthy guests who sat around a long, polished table. The chandeliers sparkled above, but the real glow came from the pride on Robert's face as he entertained his elite circle. But suddenly, the atmosphere changed. Robert turned his anger toward one of the maids. Her name was Sophia, a young black woman working quietly in her uniform. She had just placed the glass on the table when Robert snapped. "Shut up and work!" he shouted. His voice echoed across the room, silencing every guest. Before anyone could react, he grabbed a steaming bowl of pasta and poured it over Sophia's head. The noodles and sauce dripped down her hair and shoulders. The hall went silent. Gasps filled the air. One woman dropped her fork. Another covered her mouth. But Robert stood tall, smirking, as if humiliating someone proved his power. Sophia remained still. She did not scream. She did not run. She lowered her eyes and stood in silence. But no one in that hall knew that Robert's arrogance would soon collapse, and that he would end up on his knees. Sophia lifted her head slowly. Her uniform was soaked, her dignity attacked, but her spirit unbroken. She raised her voice, soft but steady. "I was raised to believe work is honorable, but no one has the right to treat another human this way." The words cut through the air sharper than any knife. Guests shifted uncomfortably, looked at Robert with disgust. Robert scoffed. "Save your speeches for someone who cares," he sneered. He raised his glass in mockery. "To hard work and knowing your place," he declared. A few guests forced nervous laughter, but most sat in silence. They were watching not just a maid, but a woman with unshakable dignity standing tall before arrogance. And that dignity was about to change everything. The heavy doors of the hall suddenly swung open. A tall, older man entered, dressed in a sharp black suit. His presence alone silenced the entire room. Whispers spread like fire. It was Jonathan Steele, the chairman of Kingsley Enterprises. The man who had the final say in Robert's future. Jonathan's piercing eyes scanned the hall. They landed first on Sophia, her hair covered in food, her uniform stained. Then his gaze shifted to Robert. The smirk on Robert's face faded, but he tried to cover his unease. "Just teaching the help some manners," Robert said, with forced confidence. But Jonathan's jaw tightened. His voice boomed across the hall. "What happened here?" No one spoke. The guests waited in fear. Jonathan took a napkin and walked over to Sophia. He handed it to her gently and asked, "Are you all right, miss?" The entire room froze. Why would the most powerful man show such respect to a maid? Jonathan turned back to Robert, his eyes blazing. "Do you have any idea who you just humiliated?" Robert's confidence faltered. He forced a laugh. "She's just a maid," he said. But Jonathan's voice thundered back. "Just a maid. This young woman is the daughter of my oldest friend, a man who saved my life in war. She chose to work quietly while finishing her education, and you dared to disgrace her in front of everyone." Murmurs filled the room. The guests looked at Robert with shock and contempt. Sophia herself looked stunned at Jonathan's revelation. Jonathan's voice shook with rage. "I was considering you as my successor, Robert. But after what I have seen, you are not worthy of leading anything. Not a company, not a family, not even yourself." Robert's face turned pale. His pride shattered, his empire, his reputation, everything he had built on arrogance was crumbling before his eyes. And the maid he thought beneath him was now the reason for his downfall. Robert's legs gave way. He dropped to his knees before Sophia. His voice cracked with desperation. Please forgive me. I did not know. I was wrong." He bowed his head in shame. The same millionaire who had mocked her minutes ago was begging like a broken man. Sophia looked at him with calm eyes. "It is not me you should beg," she said. "It is every worker you ever humiliated, every person you thought was beneath you. Respect is not bought with money. It should be given freely to every human being." Jonathan nodded in agreement. The guests rose to their feet, applauding Sophia's courage and dignity. She had turned humiliation into honor. Robert remained on the floor, broken and disgraced. And from that night forward, the story spread. The night a millionaire shouted, "Shut up and work," at a maid, but ended up on his knees begging for forgiveness. And that's how the tables turned. The same millionaire who thought he had all the power ended up on his knees, begging the very maid he once insulted. Life has a way of humbling even the proudest hearts. Remember, respect costs nothing, but its absence can cost everything. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.